Hi, and thanks for tuning in to Long Island Wargaming. This is Nick, and I will be showing you a brief video on how I magnetized my Slaughterbrute and my Mutalith Vortex Beast. Alright, so I assembled the model up till this point, so I didn't put that last piece on that would completely cover the entire body and you wouldn't see any of the inside parts. And what I did was, right behind where the head is going to be glued on, I glued one magnet on. Doesn't matter which way it's facing, whichever way you put it in is fine. And then what I did was I took the headpiece and I put some glue on the inside, and then I put it on like this so it would fit, and then I just kind of dropped the magnet in so that it would slide to the right position, that it would line up without being an issue at all. And then you can see I took the piece off to let it dry, and then I glued the second piece together, snapped it in to make sure it was all good. And then I did the last 2 or 3 pieces to complete the head. Now the tentacle part for the Vortex Beast is a little bit more tricky. So what I did do was I assembled it all together, and then I had to use a drill bit to just put a hole in the back for the size of the magnet to be able to go in and not disrupt the pieces from going together flush. I didn't use a big bit, so what I did was I had to do a bunch of different little holes, so I kind of almost used the bit to carve out an area, so I might not be using the best tool for this job right now, but it got the job done. And then I was able to fit the magnet in there nice and snug, and then I was able to have that piece connect flush.
Alright, so once we're done with all the gluing and priming, this is what we got. Now you can notice I put the swords on. I feel like more often than not I'm going to be using the Slaughterbrute. So I am going to configure it for the Slaughterbrute, but I put the tail on anyway, so I put pretty much everything on. The swords on the top, the tail, and then I put the 2 arms on that you can purchase as an upgrade for the Slaughterbrute. And then essentially I glued the 3 heads together. So now you've got a choice of heads depending on whether you want to do the Slaughterbrute. Like I showed you, I'd put both of them together, so whichever your preference is. And then for the Vortex Beast, you got this, whatever, tentacle looking stuff. And then of course you have the 2 items that go on top, the little sword icon thing, and then the Vortex. So what I'll do is I'll show you the Vortex first. Just kind of snap this in. Alright, and then, oops. And then we got the Vortex that just kind of pops in right there. Since the swords are in, you want to make sure you're careful and don't hit them. Alright, I haven't really put it in too much, so I guess once you put it in once or twice, the paint will maybe chip off, which will allow it to squeeze in there. But here's your Vortex Beast. So this piece up here, the Vortex, isn't actually magnetized, just kind of go in and out. And then what I'll do is I'll take this off, put the little icon thing in right here, squeeze it in there. Like I said, after paint gets either chipped off or whatever inside there, it'll squeeze in a little bit better, but it's nice and snug now since there is that little layer of paint. And then I'll snap this head in. There you go. It's a big model, it's hard to keep in the frame. Then if you want, you switch out the head. This head seems to fit a little bit more snug, so if you don't care about the head, this is my preference, I think. So there's your Slaughterbrute Vortex Beast.
So that's how I magnetized my Slaughterbrute and Vortex Beast. And then just one thing to make a note of is those swords are really small and really flimsy, so just be careful with them. You don't want to break them. I know for me it's just a matter of time before I do break one of them. And then the next big project that will take some thinking is how I'm going to paint it. Since it's being used in two different models, I don't know if I want to paint it like the Slaughterbrute or paint it like the Vortex Beast, or I might just come up with something completely different. Just some random chaosy colors and maybe some Zinchi purples and pinks and whatnot. But I'm probably going to use the Slaughterbrute more often than not, just because I feel it's a better piece from my experience using it in gameplay. It just stinks having to get the bounce spell off in order to use its abilities for the Vortex Beast. However, it is pretty tough. It's got that ward save too. So, but if you have any questions or comments, feel free. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.